In 2016, my friend Daniel and I decided to go camping near a remote forest area, far from the city. There was no cell signal, no nearby houses, just trees, fog, and silence. The ranger station warned us not to stay after dark, but we laughed it off. That was our first mistake. Around midnight, the forest became unnaturally quiet. No insects, no wind, just silence so thick it felt heavy on the chest. Then we heard it, a slow knock, not on the tent, on a tree. Knock, pause, knock. Daniel whispered that it was probably another camper messing with us. I wanted to believe that, but the knocks were too steady, too deliberate, like someone practicing. Suddenly, a voice came from the darkness. "Can you help me?" It sounded wrong. The words were clear, but the tone was flat, almost rehearsed, like someone repeating a sentence they didn't understand. Daniel stood up and grabbed the flashlight. I pulled him back. Something in my gut told me not to answer. The voice came again, closer this time. "Can you help me?" The flashlight beam shook as Daniel aimed it between the trees. Nothing, but the knocking stopped. For several minutes, there was only silence. We thought it was over. Then the knocking started again, this time on the tent fabric. Not a fist. It was slow, uneven, like knuckles bending the wrong way. I could see the shape pressing against the tent wall. The outline wasn't human. The arms were too long, the head tilted at an impossible angle. The voice whispered right next to my ear through the tent. "I know you're awake." Daniel screamed and shined the flashlight directly at the shape. It vanished. No footsteps, no sound, just gone. We didn't sleep. At sunrise, we packed up and drove straight to the ranger station. When we told them what happened, the ranger's face went pale. He told us we weren't the first. Campers had reported the same voice, the same knocking, the same thing pretending to need help. Then he said something I still think about every night. "It never hurts people who answer. It only follows them home." Daniel moved states a month later. He says he still hears knocking sometimes, on his apartment walls, on his bedroom door, always slow, always patient. As for me, I never open the door unless I'm expecting someone, because whatever was in that forest learned how to knock. Daniel stopped answering my calls after he moved. At first, I thought he was busy settling into his new apartment in Oregon. Then I received a voice message at 2:47 a.m. There was no greeting, just knocking. 3 slow taps, a pause, then 3 more, and Daniel's breathing, shallow, shaking, right before the message ended. I called him back immediately. No answer. The next morning, he finally picked up. His voice sounded thinner, like he hadn't slept in weeks. "It's here," he said. "It learned my schedule." Daniel told me the knocking started the first night he moved in, not on the door, on the bedroom wall, always at the same time, always 3 knocks. He tried ignoring it, earplugs, music, sleeping in the living room. The knocking followed. One night, he opened his phone camera and recorded the sound through the wall. When he played it back, something was wrong. Between the knocks, there was breathing, not his, heavy, patient, too close to the microphone. A week later, the voice came back. "Can you help me?" This time, it came from inside his apartment. Daniel said the words were clearer now, more confident, like it had been practicing. He stayed with a friend for a few days, but the knocking followed him there too, on the guest room door at 2:47 a.m. His friend heard it as well, thought it was a prank, until the voice spoke his name. That's when Daniel stopped running.
He went back to his apartment and called a local paranormal investigation group. They set up cameras, audio recorders, motion sensors. At exactly 2:47 a.m., all the devices shut off at once, except one camera. The footage showed Daniel standing in his hallway, staring at the door. The knocking echoed softly. Then the voice spoke from behind him. "Thank you for answering." Daniel turned slowly toward the camera and smiled. The investigators found the apartment empty the next morning. No signs of struggle, no note, no fingerprints except Daniel's. But the final video file ended with one last frame. The camera lens fogged from the inside, and 3 fresh knock marks appeared on the glass. I moved shortly after that. New city, new locks, no camping, no late nights. Still, every once in a while, at exactly 2:47 a.m., I hear it. 3 slow knocks, not on my door, on my bedroom wall, and a voice that sounds more human every time it speaks. I didn't tell anyone about the knocking. I told myself it was stress, guilt, my brain replaying the memory of that forest. But deep down, I knew better. It always came at 2:47 a.m. 3 knocks, the same pause, the same patience. Whatever followed Daniel home had finally found me. One night, I decided to record it. At 2:46, I set my phone against the wall and sat on my bed, heart racing. When the clock flipped to 2:47, the knocks came, slow and deliberate. Knock, knock, knock. The wall vibrated under my fingers. Then the voice whispered, clearer than ever, "You promised to help." I don't remember making that promise, but something inside me did. My phone screen flickered, a notification appeared, even though I wasn't connected to the internet. Incoming call, Daniel. I answered before I could stop myself. His voice came through the speaker, calm and familiar. "It doesn't hurt, it just needs permission." The knocking moved from the wall to my bedroom door. 3 knocks. This time, they were perfectly even, human. I stood up, every instinct screaming not to move, not to speak. The door handle began to turn, slowly, respectfully, like someone waiting to be invited in. "Can you help me?" The voice asked again, but now it sounded exactly like me. I thought about the ranger's words. It never hurts people who answer. It only follows them home. I finally understood. Answering wasn't about opening the door. It was about letting it finish learning you. I didn't open the door. Instead, I spoke. "You don't need help anymore." The knocking stopped. The silence was immediate and violent, like the air had been sucked out of the room. My phone went black. The clock froze at 2:47. For a moment, I thought it was over. Then I felt it. Relief. Warm, familiar, like something settling into place. The next morning, the door was still locked. No marks, no recordings, no missed calls. But sometimes, when I speak, my voice echoes a second later, softer, more patient. And every night at 2:47 a.m., I don't hear knocking anymore, because whatever was asking for help no longer needs to ask.